Hello class, my name is Abigail Verts and I am a sophomore at State Fair Community College. I'm currently 19 and pursuing a degree in elementary education. The book I chose is The Hot Zone by Richard Preston. It's a very good book. I highly recommend it. To begin with, I'm a really huge fan of mystery books, crime, horror, and scientific themed books. The Hot Zone seemed really interesting to me because at first glance it was about viruses, and after an examination of it, the novel was about Ebola virus. I felt it would be a very interesting topic because I knew how deadly the virus was. I chose this book because I felt I could learn a lot about viruses such as Ebola, and definitely that I could relate it to current conditions with COVID-19. The book, The Hot Zone, is written in 4 titled sections: The Shadow of Mount Elgon, The Monkey House, Smashdown, and Kadam Cave. Throughout these parts, Richard Preston narrates the lives of people involved in different incidents which occurred in and at each place. To begin the novel, Preston delves into the history of filoviruses, which is the group of viruses that Marburg and Ebola are under, and then he speculates about the origins of AIDS, since it's similar to filoviruses and many others. Preston then recounted the story of Charles Monet, which is a pseudonym, who possibly got the virus from Kadam Cave on Mount Elgon in Kenya. A week after, Charles Monet became severely ill with a fever and vomiting, and he fled to Nairobi Hospital. At Nairobi Hospital, Monet died, but not before he infected his doctor, Dr. Shem Musoki. However, Musoki lived to tell the story. He lived through the virus. After that, we learned that Marburg was the virus that both Monet and Musoki had. This section also introduced us to Nancy Jacks, who was a veterinarian at USIMRAD in Fort Detrick, and Preston tells the story of other outbreaks the few years leading to Monet's death. One major story is that of Nurse Mainga. The reason hers is really important to the story is because her cells are the ones used in Fort Detrick, among other places, for research purposes. This is because she had the most deadly form of Ebola, Ebola Zaire, which claims 90% of those infected. The second and third parts, The Monkey House and Smashdown, detail the story of how Ebola Reston was discovered at a monkey house in Reston, Virginia. This story involved almost every character that Richard Preston had written about so far. And throughout this section, Preston wrote about the details of action that were taken to control and maintain the situation at the monkey house, which ended with the army euthanizing all of the monkeys, which was about 450, and decontaminating the building with formaldehyde for 3 days until they were satisfied that Ebola Reston had been wiped from the place. Finally, the last part, Kadam Cave, tells of Richard Preston, the author, visiting Kadam Cave, which is a suspected home to the natural host animal of Ebola, or where Ebola lives. Equipped with a hazmat suit, Preston went into Kadam Cave and to see what was living there and what could be there. And then finally, at the end of this section of the book, Preston drives to the monkey house in Reston, Virginia, to see what had become of the place. He concludes the novel by speculating that Ebola and such viruses are nature's way of ridding herself of parasites, us, the human race, and proclaims that Ebola will be back with a vengeance. This book was honestly really good, and I look forward to reading others like it, but I honestly have so many favorite parts, it's kind of hard to tell them all. Preston did a really great job relaying the true events of the book to us readers, and he told a great story surrounding them. One of my favorite parts was the story he told for Lieutenant Colonel Nancy Jacks. Like I said, Nancy Jacks was the veterinarian and scientist in the United States Army, and she worked in Jean Johnson's Ebola experiment in 1983, where she suffered a near exposure to Ebola when her spacesuit glove ripped during an examination of a monkey that had died from Ebola. She also worked extensively in the outbreak operation in Preston, Virginia in 1989. He really told her story very well, and I really did enjoy the aspects of the book that had her in it. One other part that I found very interesting was the introduction of Charles Monet in the very beginning, because he was considered the index patient. Monet was the first patient to show symptoms outside of Marburg, Germany, of the Marburg virus, and Preston told a really good story of how Ebola can travel, because Monet went to the Nairobi hospital where he infected his doctor, but his doctor survived, and he killed a couple of other people there after he died by giving them the virus. For context for this, there's 6 known strains of Ebola, and Ebola has 2 sister viruses, one of which is Marburg, which is considerably more lethal, and of those 6 Ebola strains, only 4 can infect humans and kill. Anywho, Monet became ill after a hike to Kadam Cave on Mount Elgon in Nairobi, and he's the initial study that a lot of other studies have been based off of, and he's the reason that there was a huge study done to Kadam Cave where they actually found nothing related to Ebola, and he is the huge reason why Preston himself went to Kadam Cave at the very end of his novel. He also found nothing, and he didn't get sick, and nobody else got sick. So far, nobody has ever found on what was giving the virus to people in that cave, what animal is its host. The final aspect of the book I really did love, which kind of tied it all together, so it was really the whole book, was the writing and descriptive words that Preston used. He was very descriptive in the scenarios and situations of everything that was occurring, and the writing is some of the best that I've ever had. He kept the story flowing, and for it being a nonfiction science book, it was very fiction, kind of. Like, it was very, very well told. Ebola virus is a very dangerous and deadly virus with approximately 25% chance or less of surviving. The virus is not something really to be taken lightly. So from this book, 2 major impacts or takeaways of the book are that the power of nature and limitations of human knowledge. Mother Nature is a very powerful force, which can definitely be seen in hurricanes and tornadoes, volcanic eruptions, and pretty much any natural disaster. Also, in viruses and different diseases that plague animals. The reason that animals get these diseases, though, is because they could become overpopulated. At the end of the novel, Jean Johnson says that it's only a matter of time before a virus breaks and kills a majority of people on the planet. And while this is a very cynical statement, Johnson made a very good point. The same thing that happens to animals can and probably will happen to humans. Therefore, the novel teaches society that we should not underestimate Mother Nature because it can be extremely deadly, and that nature will always take back what is considered hers, which would be the earth. Furthermore, the second important concept is that of human knowledge. There's a reason that the saying human error exists. Human knowledge is not infinite by any means and has some severe limitations. For example, the proteins that make up Ebola number 7, we only know 5 of these, and the rest are complete mystery. We've got no idea what makes them up. We have absolutely no idea about them. Therefore, Ebola is only half known. So human knowledge is very slim when it comes to how the virus spreads or what transmits it in nature, because we still don't know what carries it in nature. Ebola is a very serious disease that currently has never affected me personally. However, it has affected many others and is a virus in nature and affects animals and the world if an outbreak ever occurs. People need to understand that an outbreak or something is inevitable and will probably be much, much more deadly than coronavirus. The Hot Zone tells this terrifying story of Ebola in the past, and the details are gruesome. They're horrifying on a small scale, and I would truly hate to see them on a global scale. By reading the novel, I would hope that people can understand the severity of Mother Nature and the limited extent of human ability. Overall, I really did enjoy The Hot Zone by Richard Preston. It was a truly fascinating and slightly horrifying read, but Preston wrote a novel that was full of facts, but he also made it interesting. I highly recommend this novel to anybody who enjoys books written by Michael Crichton and or Stephen King. I will warn future readers that the book can get gruesome and detailed in some parts and may not be for the weak of stomach. Furthermore, it may also not be for people who get easily scared, are hypochondriacs, or have nightmares. Preston did not tell the stories lightly and did not shy away from what the virus actually does. Regardless, I would give the book a 10 out of 10, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a good book that they can relate to modern happenings. Thank you so much, class, and I hope you all choose to read this book, and I hope that you all enjoyed your books too. Thank you.